Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about this very exciting upcoming full moon on February 19th, 2019. In about 1 second, I'm going to take you outside because the introduction to this video got messed up. This full moon is awesome. It's a lot of times these updates I do, it's my best attempt to put a positive spin on challenging growth catalyzing energies and circumstances. This one, however, is more like the full moon's going to help you experience the results of your work and experience yourself at a higher level of consciousness, especially, and just a higher degree of alignment with your soul's essence and life purpose and mission than ever before. It's difficult to sum up, as I sometimes do prior to the video, because there's a lot of really awesome things going on, all related, but also sometimes somewhat a bit different. So I'm going to skip the intro and get right into it. Now, before I do, let me say, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. It's an honor to be speaking in front of you, because I know anyone watching a video like this is someone who's highly dedicated to working on themselves, and for that I commend you. I have a free gift for all of my new subscribers. It's actually, this one's a new one. It's a new guided meditation that helps you reconnect with your higher self. It's totally free. You'll find it at the top of the description box down below. And with that said, I'll see you all inside of the video. Number 1, it's a phenomenal time to rewire yourself and reprogram your life so that it's in harmony with your full potential. This recent new moon we had was fairly intense, though illuminating. But that illumination may have manifested for you in you becoming aware of just how out of balance, out of sync you are in certain areas of your life. And this could be with your career, with your relationship. For me, it was with my eating habits. It could take on many forms. And during that time, I felt really like down on myself. I felt like I'm regressing, and like I was able to experience the results of me choosing to be really unbalanced, and it was a very miserable experience. But that was all information. So if this has been you, or maybe this is you now, don't fret. It's information. Now here's what the full moon is going to give you the potential to do. It's going to expand your awareness, which is what they're all doing anyways, to the point where you're able to see these patterns for what they are, their choices, their habits, that you can just consciously offset in very simple ways. So for one of the ways I'm doing it is I realized, as I confessed in a recent video, I think the last new moon video, that whenever I get stressed out, I tend to like binge out on sugary food, waffles, Pop-Tarts, just crap, just really unhealthy food, and it makes me feel awful, but I just keep doing it for some reason. I realized recently that it's because I get too stressed out about my career, about my work. I get too enthralled in it. And what came as an idea, sort of through synchronicity, is the notion to take a full day off, which might seem crazy to a lot of you guys, but when you find your passion, it's hard to take a day off, because I do love it for the most part. But I decided, yesterday I did this. I took a full day off. I didn't even pick up my phone, and it was amazing. I feel so free. I feel so good. I feel so much more balanced than I was even a couple of days ago. So that's just an example of how I've sort of used the information. Though it was an unpleasant experience to gain that information, I'm going to make use of it and say, you know what? I'm going to sort of try to curb this habit by making these modifications in my life that'll be more in harmony. So you might find yourself doing that general thing in your own way and in your own life, which is beautiful, because once you make that shift, not only do the old patterns tend to fall by the wayside, but you're just elevated to this new degree of just joy within your life and happiness. Number 2, you might find that you're becoming a lot more in touch with the other side, more psychic, more aware of what's beyond the physical, what's beyond the five senses. There's a lot more. And you might find yourself experiencing some of that, perceiving it, relating with it, building a relationship with it. What? That sounds crazy. What are you talking about, Vic? I'll give an example of how this is playing out for me. I started taking this advanced channeling course, my wife and I, and one of the first assignments and guided meditations, we'll say, was to call forth our 3 easiest to channel spirit guides. Now, I've had experiences with my spirit guides, but I generally don't talk to them all that often. I just assume they're there when I need them and so forth. But just someone saying, "Hey, Vic, you can call forth 3 of them, not just any 3, but the 3 easiest ones to communicate with at will." And it wasn't that difficult with just a few minutes of meditation, and then you call them in, and I was like, wow, it was mind-blowing. All 3 of them happened to be my grandparents, which was really unexpected. One of them is a grandparent I never even met because he died before I was born, but I was literally able to communicate with them. They were giving me messages. They said I should write that book. They said they're proud of the work I'm doing. And above all else, above this intuitive dialogue that we had, I felt their love. I felt this divine love before. I won't go into this deep story, but I had an experience where it'll be too big of a tangent, but I had an experience a long time ago. I've shared about it on my YouTube channel where I had sort of a near-death experience without dying, and I went and I experienced like this heavenly sort of experience. Anyway, there was a quality of love that I recall, and I felt that just the other day while I was relating with these spirit guides of mine, my deceased grandparents. The point is, it wasn't difficult for me to do, and it was very much more in my face, more real, more tangible than I'm used to. And I know that all kind of sounded wacky, and it wasn't my goal to do that. I wanted to kind of stay grounded as I shared that story with you. But my point is, you might be experiencing that sort of fundamental opening up of your psychic senses in your own way. Number 3 is you might feel a strong pull from within and also from without to start doing your work, to start in some way sharing and expressing and helping other people with what you've been learning this whole time. As you go through a spiritual awakening, you become very wise, you become in touch with your divinity, and also what is born is the urge to help others blossom themselves, blossom as you have. And you might find that becomes more relevant for you, more imminent, rather than, I know one day I'll be helping people, to how it might shift to like, how can I help people now? I want to do it now. You might want to, and you also might start to feel kind of obligated. You might look around the world and say, you know what? Dude, people need this. People need it now. I see people in so much pain, and it bothers me. It strikes me to the core, and it's time. It's time to push past my fears. It's time to push past my own doubt and find a way to do it. And just a little word to the wise, what I've learned, contrary to what you might assume, because I happen to have sort of an unusual role where I do it in a very obvious way. Most people, it's not like that, and it doesn't have to be like that. For example, I had this online coaching client who's in like the beauty industry, who she had this whole thing happening with her, which is one of the reasons I felt compelled to share it. But what she started doing, she didn't start talking about ETs and fourth density and light workers to her, like, hair salon clients. No, she started posting positive and uplifting quotes and messages to her Facebook fan page. And also had some other thing where she gathered people, and I forgot what it was, but it was something like that. Something where she met people where they were at, and it worked. It turned some people away, yes, which is our fear. That's going to happen. Get over it, because that's going to be expected. But other people will be attracted to it, and those are the ones that you can actually help. I'll give one last example of just how how slick we sometimes have to be and how creative we have to be in order to sort of bridge that gap. My friend Aaron Dowdy and I were in the locker room, and there's these two people, these two guys, and they were talking about their ADHD and the fact that they're sick of taking Adderall. And I knew my friend Aaron was going to chime in because he has an experience with that. He used to be ADHD. He used to take a lot of Adderall until one day he read online that you could just meditate and get off the medication. But the way I knew he was going to say something, but the way he did it, it's almost like his personality changed to mirror and to sort of mirror and sync up with these two guys who are sort of like your gym, like the bros, the gym bros. Yo, what's up? That kind of mentality. So Aaron, he was swearing more. He kind of had this swaggers, the way he went about it, and he's like, yeah, listen, man, I know I didn't like meditating either, but I started doing it, and it's real easy. And he just kind of had this sort of cool guy way of going about it. But these guys were like, damn, he was able to get through. He was able to sort of bridge that gap and maybe make a huge difference in their lives. He did it in a way because he really became sympathetic and aware of where these people were at, and he met them halfway. Number 4 is dropping back into your heart. Life very well might help you do this. It helped me do this in a very profound way about, 4 or 5 days ago. And I'll tell you what happened. It was a very interesting story. I was driving to my friend Aaron Dowdy's house. We were going to do this live coaching session with our clients. And I was met head to head by maybe a 90-year-old woman. She was in the wrong lane, and she was like head to head with me as I pulled onto the street. She thought I was in the wrong lane, so she sort of like swerved around me, sort of frustrated to get around. So I knew this was going to be bad. She was about to head into oncoming traffic and probably get hit, and it could have been a bad accident. So instincts kicked in. I hopped out of my car, ran around the back of my truck, and like waved her down. I was like, hey, you're in the wrong lane. I was able to fortunately convince her she was in the wrong lane. But then it was getting kind of hectic because cars were starting to come, and we were all kind of stopped there, and they were getting frustrated and getting kind of close, and she was embarrassed and she was flustered, and I was trying to help her back up quite a ways to kind of back into this parking lot, but I could tell she was too out of sorts to do it. So eventually I was able to convince her to let me drive her car for her, and I was able to do it for her. But anyway, it's hard to tell this story without getting teared up because she was just so appreciative of me. I felt more like a hero that day than maybe ever before in my entire life. And as I was driving, I was thinking about bullshit. I was just ruminating and just in my head, fretting about the unessential, and just the situation to help another human being just sort of popped into my reality, and it was just it just felt so good. It felt so natural. It felt so right. It reminded me of like, that's what this is all about. It's about just living in our heart and being there for other people. Because that, as simple as that was, even though it was sort of stressful because there was people wanting to get by, I felt better in those few moments, in the zone, than any of the accomplishments I've achieved in life. All the things I concern about, they don't produce what that situation did. But the reality was, what I realized is that there were so many people there, all frustrated and irritated, completely apathetic to this poor woman and her situation. And I realized, you know what? I'm like those guys a lot of the times. I'm not always in my heart. Thank God this situation brought me back into my heart, but I don't always live that way. So that was an eye-opening experience for me. So maybe me sharing this with you can help you drop into your heart, or maybe you'll have the benefit of attracting some sort of situation into your life to help remind you of what really matters, which is love. My friends, if you can find a way to drop into your heart, allow your natural psychic senses and connection with the other side to take on a new level and blossom. And if you can consciously rewire some of those old habits and optimize and align yourself, there will be opportunities for you to soar, to go to the next level in your life, because you're doing a lot of the inner work. You're creating the inner spiritual divine alignment within your life. And when you do that, things click and opportunities come out of left field. But you have to seize them. You have to seize the day when the opportunity arises. It's not always easy. Most of the time, when you're given a chance to take your life to the next level, it's very scary, even if it's something you've been wanting. Maybe you've been writing a book this whole time, and now you're finally going to get published, and it's like, oh, what if it's not ready? I don't know. It can become hard. This is happening for me. I've talked about this. I've talked about wanting to do speaking gigs. And honestly, the idea of doing it is a lot more, sits more comfortably within me than the prospect of actually getting in front of a lot of people at once. But lo and behold, I got this email, and there's this big event in Las Vegas. I can't think of the name of it. It's a quantum something or other, but this event looks like whoever's running it has been doing it for a long time. It's a kind of a bigger event, a lot of guest speakers, and I was invited to go. And I had all those initial nerves I just shared with you, but you know what I did? I didn't let my mind talk myself out of it, which is what most people do. I didn't let my fears become too rational and legitimate for me to say, you know what? This actually isn't the right time because of this, and this. All these things my ego have discovered and found and conjured up as a way of blocking me from what I really want to do, what my heart wants to do. So without thinking, I just sort of knew, you know what, Vic? Just say yes. So I did. And it's not official yet. I have to actually meet with these people before I actually do it. But my point is, that's a very important thing I wanted to kind of remind you guys. Because you're going through shifts. You're going through transformation. You're making big changes in your life, in your being, in your awareness, in your consciousness. And as you do, reality is going to start to show you all the new. You've been doing a lot of letting go of the old. Well, the new is going to start popping in, but it's going to be a choice. It's going to be up to you to seize the day, to take advantage of the new. But if you can do that, it's going to be awesome. I've been doing this my whole life, or at least for the last several years, and it is scary, but it's also more rewarding to prove to yourself what you're actually capable of, and then get to experience the fruits of you deciding to take those leaps of faith and seize the day. Okay, my friends, I wish you well with this full moon. It's a lot going on, a lot of very, very exciting things. I'm going to have to get out of here, though, because it's freezing here in Las Vegas, like in the 30s. So my nose is running, and I got to bounce. But listen, if you guys, I know you probably noticed I don't upload videos as often anymore, and that's what I feel is right for me at this time. But I am highly active on Instagram. I post daily stories. I pretty much post almost every day a video, a content video, and I'm just very engaged with Instagram as of lately, because I just like the vibe of Instagram. So if you guys want more of Victor, go ahead and check it out down below. I'll leave a link to my Instagram account. And with that said, I hope you guys have an amazing day. I want to thank you all also for just the hard work that I know you're doing. I know there's never a chance for a vacation. There's never a chance to settle down. There's never a chance to take a exhale, a breath. And it's just we're all on the go, man. And it's not easy, but it's rewarding and it's awesome. And I'm just very proud of you guys, and just happy that you've heeded the call from your inner being to transform yourself in this way, because it's very much needed, not only for you, but also for the whole, the planet. You're doing the world a lot of good by being who you are and being where you are and doing what you're doing. So thank you. Peace.